The following game has no ESRB rating, nor is there any sort of listing for restrictive content found within the game. From what I've seen so far, it does contain space combat, explosions, ships on fire, and what the game considers strong language, although I don't believe that language is considered cursing in modern day civilization terms, but it's still there, and the meaning, I believe, is readily visible, if not overtly listed as such. That being said, if I were to guess as to what its rating would have been, I would say it would most likely have been rated T for teen by the ESRB. So, given that assumption, and again, it is assumption, so of course, viewer discretion is advised, I recommend anyone under the age of 13 not watch the following video. You have been warned. Greetings and salutations. I am Outlier, and I bid you welcome to this channel. Joining me today is, of course, my usual co-hosts, Snowball and Wolf. And today we are returning back to Starhammer: The Vanguard Prophecy. Now, this is the one with the tactical fleet combat? Yes, I know that doesn't really narrow it down. So the premise of Starhammer: The Vanguard Prophecy is that you, the player, take the role of a starship battle group known as Task Force 7, I believe the name is. And at least from what few missions I've played so far, and for more information on those, you can watch the prior episode of this that I made. But you're basically tasked with hunting down rebels and pirates, and in the midst of that, an alien race that attacked your people before returns for motives as yet currently unknown. Yes, it has been a while since I played this game. Well, that answer can be summed up in two parts. The first part being that while this isn't a game that I've played regularly in the past, before even while I've been making videos to put on the internet, it has been a game that has always intrigued me, and I've always thought if I've had more time and there weren't other games that I've been interested in playing more, then I would have gotten around to continuing on with this. But I was flipping through my, I want to say impressive catalog of videos that I've posted on the internet, but truth be told, it's probably not. But I've noticed that the prior episode of this game has gotten, well, at least for my channel, a significant number of views compared to a large number of my other videos. And yes, the way I've been going, over a dozen views is technically significant. So, for anybody who's watching this episode and wanted to see something else, this is largely your fault. Well, maybe not your fault, but the other guy's fault, who actually stopped and looked at the prior episode of this, so I figured, why not make a second episode? So on that note, this game was of course made by... Thank you again. And that being said, let us begin. So here we are at the chapter screen. This game is broken up by various chapters as we lead our task force out on various missions. I should point out, it's been a while since I've played this game, and I have not been playing it in between this episode and the last, so I don't actually remember much as to what's going on. I do remember we had just finished our training, and then we got jumped by pirates. We went to save one of our friends and watched as he died horribly. Yeah, I would say in a blaze of glory, but it was just more of a blaze. So we managed to beat back the pirates, then watched our instructor die, and in pretty much the exact same way. And we managed to take out those pirates and get back to port for refit and resupply and general inquiry as to why we disobeyed orders, if memory serves. But we were found while somewhat insubordinate. It wasn't enough to remove our command, so we're still flying, still fighting, and I guess we continue on. So if we look at crew skills, we do have a crew. Currently consists of us, and our character goes by the name of Valeron Dice. Valeron Dice. She is not a character I created. She comes with the game, so that's us, technically. And our one and only other crewmate is Haven Jinx, our gunnery ensign. Guessing he controls all the guns. And they can have two different stances, defensive and offensive, I believe they're called. And currently, Haven's, who's set to defensive, gets plus 5% for flagship shields. If we set him to offensive, he gets 5% weapons damage. And conversely, our character is set to offensive, where she's a Navy brat, and she gets 10% flagship movement speed, which is the ship she's technically on in our command ship. Whereas if I set her to defensive, she gets plus 5 flagship shields. But if I have her set to offensive and Haven here set to defensive, I get a crew bonus of plus 10% for my engines, so I see little reason to change that. I believe the stance that they take also affects dialogue options and how they react to things. I believe I do get access to extra crew, but because I'm still literally in the first chapter, that's pretty much it. So I have 2 jobs that I can partake in. One is blind assumptions. According to the rest of the coalition, the word of a dice can't be traded on. Despite all of our contact logs, gunnery vid feeds, and depositions from Haven and the Rangers from NSG-7, Command won't publicly confirm our contact with the squids. That's the alien race that came back. They need evidence, as if the gunk smeared across my Corvette's nose wasn't enough. The Admiral Marshal himself has ordered a strike group to investigate our point of contact with the Nautilid. That's their official name. From there, they will have to figure out all the possible entry sectors into Nova's airspace the Nautilids could have taken and plug the holes with whatever force necessary. Novus is our planet, government. As an official investigation, it means I get to maintain provisional command of NSG-7 as an acting lieutenant commander, as well as gain access to NavSec communications intelligence programs. Maybe if I find them the squids, someone from command can tell me why Dad isn't picking up the phone back at the boardwalk. So our character's father, I believe, is a high-ranking admiral, and he was also a war hero from the last time the Nautilid invaded Nova's airspace. Now, so I can proceed with that mission, or I can go on to the picking crew mission. So picking crew is, it's been 9 days since the attacks. No one has been able to patch me through to Dad's office. Telling him I'm not dead is the best excuse I've had yet to break the 5-week drought between us. Guess I'll see him at Tension's memorial next week. Tension's our training commander. The rumors of my own explosive demise were quickly dispersed by Command's PR unit. Although they managed to leave out the fact that we were active in the combat and quarantining of the SNR site, all 8 escape pods accounted for. Could be the reason why Command is now dangling a temporary license for an albatross frigate in front of my face and asking me to escort the salvage crews out of the wreckage, of which accepting would make me temporarily acting commander dice and command of my own naval group and access to a command agent at the NavSec switchboard. On the other hand, it means returning to duty sooner than my trauma psych recommends. Haven thinks we should listen to the doctor, or Haven thinks we should listen to the doctor, but no, I won't get the chance to walk my own frigate bridge again anytime soon if I turn this down. So I can go on a scouting mission to look for the enemy aliens, or I can escort salvage engineers from, I guess, the people trying to claim whatever they can off of the destroyed vessels. Now, it sounds like I get a new crew member if I go with picking crew, although I have absolutely no idea if that's actually accurate, and I'm not certain if I can do one mission, or at least one segment of missions, and then do the other one. So I don't know if it's a branching storyline where if I do this mission, I can't do this mission, and vice versa, or it's a non-linear storyline where I'll eventually have to do both, it just doesn't matter the order. But I like the idea of having a bigger crew, and all the bonuses that they apply, so I will go with picking crew. So I have new reinforcements, the Albatross, I'm just going to change that name anyway, frigate, and it's commanded by Lieutenant Commander Valoran Dice, basically us. So the first mission in this chapter is Scrapping Liberty. Mission description is neutral. Some part of me expected the sky to have changed out here, like the stars would shift their positions, or that Artemis would frame itself dramatically against the viewing port. But it all looks just like every other time I've been out here. There's scavs already picking at Liberty 2's remains. Most of them have the sense to run at the sight of this awkward frigate, but some of them are lining up for a tussle. I'm more than happy to oblige these vultures in the fight they're looking for. It's unlikely we'll need to use this Albatross's missile countermeasures against a couple of raiders, but the retrofitted EM stun capability should give them a nice surprise. So clear the scavengers from the wreckage side of Liberty 2. Let us proceed. Alright, so I then move on to ship selection and formation. I have 60 I have 68 reinforcement points, and this raider, I guess, gunship costs 110. Could also, if I had enough points, get a new Corvette at 200, and that's it. So in the meantime, I basically I have the rest of my fleet, which is my old Corvette and 3 swordfish. So I can rename all of my ships. I've been pretty much renaming all of my ships after baked goods. Even though I do have the swordfish by the name of Honey, and the other one named after Jam. So I think that's Jam. Hard to tell, at least from where I'm sitting. So let's see, I need a bold name, a proud name. Pound cake it is. The Albatross Pound Cake 4. Alright, so let's also put in the Corvette, because it's the next biggest ship. And let's also go with the Honey and the Jam. Yeah, that is Jam, okay. Then I also have an extra swordfish, which I can't actually select just yet. We'll call this one the Butter. So that'll be in back, and until I can get an extra point, I guess it sits in the wings. So I also get to control where the the formation for the fleet or task group. So let's actually have the swordfish, one swordfish, the Honey, be above my frigate, and the Jam can be below it. Then we'll have the biscuit off to the side and the pound cake in the middle. Alright, that looks good until everybody dies, so let's proceed. Alright, so scrapping Liberty begins. This is our task group. So anti-missile countermeasures. Albatross frigates are equipped with proximity sentry countermeasure systems to protect the strike group. When deployed, countermeasure sentries remain in place to scramble the flight path of projectiles and neutralize guided missiles. Something tells me that's going to be important sooner rather than later. Upon deployment, you can mouse over the countermeasure drone to see the spherical area of countermeasures will protect. When an enemy missile enters the zone, both the countermeasure and the missile will be destroyed. Additionally, any hostile projectiles passing through the sphere will have their accuracy decreased. Deploy countermeasure, select the deploy countermeasure command, and then click and drag countermeasure projection to the desired location. The countermeasure's height will be adjusted within the vertical plane arrow buttons. Alright, so AK Hellstrom, Commander Dice, this is Naval Security Communication Intelligence Officer Hellstrom. Key Hellstrom, I did not see that. About time you logged in, Comet, we're almost to the nav point already. There's a delay with your temporary command certification with NavSec, sir. Of course, there's always a paperwork issue. All sorted now? NSG-7 is under your provisional command. Your priority objective is secure the wreckage of Liberty 2 and enable the successful salvage operation of command assets. You heard the man. Weapons alive and full forward. Let's clean these scavs out. Commander, the escort crews? Ah, Finnegan. I've forgotten about them. Form defensive around the escort, then check your lanes for collateral on the wreckage. The only holes I want to see are in the hulls of those scavengers. That it? Sometimes it's hard to tell. Alright, I guess that's it for the log. Yes, okay, so he's just given his serial number. That was the part of the communication that I missed. Alright, so for right now, we have a very slow camera.
Very awe-inspiring and proud music.
But I have 4 raiders. By the looks of it, more will probably show up. So how this works is basically every ship moves forward, much like if it's in atmosphere, even though this is space. So I move a ship by clicking this silhouette, and anywhere within this cone area, I can move the ship. I can also move the ship down, I believe. Yeah, through these buttons. So this is a turn-based game, and anywhere where I want the ship to be, that is where that's where the silhouette goes. So if I wanted to move the pound cake, it'll end up here, end of next turn. And then the biscuit will go, let's say, put it over here. The utility ship, I want to have it make a turn, because it is a non-combat vessel. So I'm going to have it can't actually go down further. So it's going to turn this way. And I might have an issue with the jammed swordfish. So then I'll have the swordfishes swing out this way. Alright, and once I figure out where I want everybody to go, I hit this button and the battle commences. So as I said, everything's turn-based, but everything's also cinematically. That's not even a word. Cinematic-based, so while I get to decide where the ships go during this part of the phase, the actual battle doesn't commence until after I tell it to go, and you see the cinematic before you. So we'll have the swordfish swing around this way. I'll have the albatross keep moving forward, and the Nemo will turn more in. And know there's a... Okay, so these are the fields of fire. So the primary gun is this arc, and I believe the Nemo has, well, the Biscuit has back arc, back cannons, which is what you see here. Swordfish only have a forward arc, and the Albatross has no aft arc, but it looks like it has port and starboard batteries as well as something to the fore. So I'm guessing the stun beam is the forward battery, and then so it's got port and starboard batteries are medium lasers, whereas the Biscuit has 2 medium lasers to the fore and 2 light lasers to the aft. So these are aft laser arcs. This is a medium laser arc. I'm guessing the Swordfish just simply have 2 light lasers, and I guess blue is the stun beam. So I'm assuming these raiders have missiles. That's why they would. I was being told about the countermeasures. But they look like standard Corvette, well, gunships. So we'll see. And then we proceed. Right, and so this raider just entered the Swordfish's arc, so they just opened fire on it, and they got its shields down 1%. Alright, so since its primary batteries are towards the sides, we're going to have the Pound Cake turn slightly. So if this ship keeps moving forward like this, hopefully the turning arc of the Pound Cake will put this ship in its stun beam, whereas these others, well, this one will eventually get into its forward, its port side battery. Of course, that would mean that the Biscuit's probably going to be in the way, so I'm going to have the Biscuit angle up slightly and keep this turn. Then I'll have the Swordfish turn slightly this way. We're going to try to keep them basically even and on top of each other. And then the utility ship is just going to, well, keep turning in a circle, just to keep it out of the way of the fight. Though something tells me if I'm not paying attention, I'm going to have people show up behind me. But let's continue. Okay, so we're not going to be able to get salvage crews anywhere close to the site with these live marks around us, sir. That's what Haven says, or Haven. Change your plan, strike group. Clear up the salvage site so the techs can land. Alright, so the tactic sort of worked. This raider turned in past the stun beam, but this one still managed to enter our port firing arc. And I believe the arcs fire independently. So if, say, the Pound Cake here was between 2 raiders, both the port and starboard batteries should open fire independently. So I'm assuming that this raider is going to turn this way to get at the utility ship. So I'm going to turn the Pound Cake this way to hopefully keep it within its port battery. The Biscuit, however, will keep turning this way, so hopefully keep this raider in its forward arc, and if this raider continues moving this way, it'll be in the Biscuit's aft arc. Now, this line is going to cause the Honey to collide with the Biscuit if I'm not careful. So I'm going to have the Honey do a tight turn this way. It'll basically keep all the raiders out of its firing arc, but it won't collide with the Biscuit. For that, I will be glad. But I will, however, split it off from the Jam, and the Jam will turn basically in the opposite direction to hopefully keep this raider in its sights. And the utility ship will turn this way. Make like a nice S pattern. And then we proceed. Okay, so the honey took a few hits, but it didn't collide with the biscuit. For that I am glad. So the jam is going to swing this way, hopefully to get one of these raiders into its arcs. And now it'd be nice if I could actually have my ship to do like this S pattern, just so that way the honey could swing this way and then this way, or basically further out and then come back in. But I can't do that, so moot point. But I'm actually going to have the honey dip down a tier, and then try to swing around this way. Hopefully this raider will overshoot and enter the honey's firing arc. The biscuit will turn this way to basically try to take on this raider, and then the pound cake will turn this way. I don't know if the stun beam is considered a specialty weapon. And that's ram enemy, that's repair, it's cancel orders, it's firing arcs. I forget what this one does. Oh, that just that shows the passive of all my other vessels. It's kind of important to keep on. Then I have 20 anti-missile countermeasures, whereas the biscuit has 12 missiles. Now I could use the missiles and countermeasures, but they don't resupply except in between chapters. So if I fire all 12 of the biscuit's missiles this mission, next mission it won't have any missiles to fire, as well as the mission after that or the mission after that, until I manage to get back to port and resupply. And the salvage vessel is actually getting further away from me. So I'll have it swing this way and probably get closer, so that way I don't have to scroll that far. And just in case somebody actually does show up behind us, move the biscuit, the pound cake further in. Really got to remember which vessel is which. But let's continue. Okay, so this vessel, so this raider managed to swing around behind everybody. This raider is close to basically flying into the pound cake, so we'll have the pound cake swing around this way. The honey is fine, although it's taken a little bit more hits to the shields. We'll have it swing around this way, hopefully get this raider back in its arc. Jam will swing around back this way to hopefully get this raider in its arc, and hopefully the pound cake will be able to hit something. Then I'll have the biscuit turn as well, because it doesn't have a side, it doesn't have any side batteries, so it's either fore or aft. And right now all the raiders are in its aft side, although there are these two. And then the utility vessel will just keep doing its turn thing. Alright, so it looks like that one raider up here did fire off in the direction of the utility ship, and it has taken some damage to its shield, so I'm going to have it turn this way. And also, I'm going to... I don't think I can distribute its power, but... if I did, I'd have, because it doesn't have any weapons, I'd just simply even it out between shields and engines. So, its shields are stronger, and I believe they recharge faster, or recharge at all. And, yeah, it just moves faster. So... so I have a feeling that if I put the honey here, it'll collide with the raider, or it'll overshoot the raider, and then the raider will be behind it. Alright, so it's shields, engines, and weapons. believe at 40% the shields start recharging, and the right shield has been taking a hit, so I want the shield to start recharging. I'll keep weapons at relatively the same, which means it's slower. So its engine, so it doesn't move as fast, so its movement arc is smaller. So I'm actually going to put the honey here. It won't move all that far, but hopefully it'll keep this raider in its forward arc. As for the biscuit, I'm going to have it... Where do I want the biscuit? No, actually here should be nice. I don't think this one has that great of a turning arc, so if it turns this way, it shouldn't smack into the biscuit, and the biscuit should be able to keep it in its forward arc. As for the pound cake, I'm having it turn this way because, well, I mean, this raider is here, and then there's this raider here, and hopefully its stun beam can get to that raider. Meanwhile, although the stun beam doesn't seem to have that great of a range, but it's a stun beam. I don't think it's lethal. As for the jam, it looks like it's been taking quite a few hits to the shield. So... Actually, which shield is that? I can't really tell. Alright, so it's actually taking quite a few shots at the forward shield. Not much to the top shield, so I'm going to drop that. I'm going to up the front shield by 2 points, and drop the bottom shield 2 points, and the top shield, I guess, also by 2 points. Yeah, that way the have more power to the forward shields. And it too will also, I'll also divert power from the engines to the shields while keeping weapons relatively the same. And I'll have the jam turn this way to hopefully get on this raider, or even this raider. Alright, and the utility ship will actually bank this way because this raider looks like it's going this way. This raider looks like it's going this way. So this one might turn into it. Probably the same with this one. But if that's the case, then the honey should be behind it. And should be fine. And if not, then, well, there's a reason why it's far behind. Let's see what happens. Alright, so it looks like that they were taking quite a few shots on the utility ship. So I'm going to have it turn this way, and... Alright, so it took quite a few hits to its left shield. So... I'm gonna max that out. Close the rear and... Basically take it from the top. Literally. And hopefully that should even out the shields a little bit more. Also, I'm going to have it turn this way, so that way its right side isn't exposed to the raiders. The honey did take a couple extra hits, and well, it didn't collide with the raider, but if I can swing this way, it should keep it behind it. I'll have the jam swing this way to chase after this raider. And the pound cake will just simply turn here. I think this raider turned this way, so I'll have the biscuit turn this way. And hopefully we should be good. Alright, so I don't think anybody bothered to take a shot at the utility ship, so that's a good thing, considering that is the objective. So, just turn it slightly that way to keep it in a holding pattern. The honey will swing back around this way. The jam will go here. The biscuits will just keep moving forward. And the pound cake will turn this way. Really should pay attention to how everybody's shields are doing. That's the raider. Alright, so its back so the honey's back shield took a slight hit. So we'll just max out that again. Expensive, it looks like the left shield. Alright, so we should be good now, so let's see what happens. Alright, so it looks like the pound cake did take a couple hits onto this raider, and I think the red actually was hull damage. So it actually managed to puncture a shield and hit the hull. So I'm going to have it turn this way as the stun beam managed to hit this one. Jam will turn this way to keep after this raider. The biscuit will turn this way because this raider looks like he's going straight after the utility vessel, which will turn this way. This way. Thank you. And the honey will turn here, so hopefully this raider will cross into its path and it can open fire. Alright, let's see who dies. Alright, so I wasn't watching all of it because there's plenty to watch. I think the honey actually did a decent amount of damage to this raider's hull. So I'm going to have the honey turn this way in a short, tight turn to hopefully keep chasing after this thing. I did not know I could actually get the picture of it this way. She'll have the pound cake turn this way, so hopefully this raider enters one of its side arcs. The jam will just keep moving forward to chase after this raider, and the pound cake will turn into this way to hunt down this raider, and the utility ship will turn here. Alright, so the biscuit completely missed everything. And well, this raider is now on fire. Because it's got smoke coming out of it. So we'll turn the pound cake this way. The jam has taken quite a few hits to its front shielding. So I'll try to boost that at the expense of, well, pretty much any other shield. And I'll have him, I guess, keep chasing this raider. I think the gem's out of this raider's arc, but possibly not these three. The honey, which seems to be relatively fine, will circle in after this one, and the biscuit will turn this way too. And the utility ship will turn this way. That's actually the edge of the map. I could be mistaken about that. Alright, so if it flags the utility ship as leaving the map and exploding, then I guess I do this all over again. I guess that looks good. Let's see what happens. Alright, so one raider exploded. This one flew off who knows where, so I'll have the jam now chase after that one. This is dead, right? Yeah, it's dead. The biscuit will turn this way. We'll have the honey turn this way. And the pound cake will turn this way. I think the biscuit's at a higher plane than the pound cake. As the utility vessel, I'll have him turn back this way. That way he's back on the map. So, one down. Well, the pound cake shields are taking a beating. So I shall divert power from engines, actually. Well, yeah, I'll I'll actually drain power from the forward and top shields to boost the left shield, because that's the one that took the most hits. Also power up the rear because it's turning. And we should be good there. That does mean I'm going to have to change its flight path again. Alright, so let's see what happens. Okay, so I'll tell you what I got. Yeah, I got the honey on a collision course with the pound cake. So I'm gonna have the honey turn this way. The jam seems to be doing fine and is basically in hot pursuit of this raider, although its shields have taken a greater beating than I thought they did. So we'll just siphon off 4 points of energy off the bottom shield. And let's say 2 points off the right and arguably a point off the left, although that it basically evens, changes things. Anyway, so front shield's now at 10, so we should be good there. The jam, I think, is actually lower than everybody, so I shouldn't be too worried about its bottom shield. Or its ventral shield, I should say. I'm worried about a collision over this one. So I'll just have the pound cake keep moving, and it will actually collide with somebody if I just have it do that. It's going to collide with this raider, actually. So I'll have it turn this way. See if I can get a broadside on this raider. And as usual, utility ship just turns. Let's go. Alright, so on the plus side, pound cake didn't hit anybody. On the bad side, its left shield is pretty much dead, so... Lock the rear shield and right shield, and I'll just pull from the other 3 facings. Yeah, that should be good. Pull up the rear shield as well, because now everybody's behind the pound cake, so we'll have it turn this way. How's the jam doing? I actually was not paying attention to it. Alright, so this raider's just flying off to who knows where, so I'm actually going to increase the engines, divert more power to the engines, but still keep the shields at, say, 30%. So it can actually move faster and hopefully chase this guy down. I'm also going to have him move up 1. So that way he's more in line with this raider, I think. Move up 2. Yeah, so now he's on the same plane as the raider. As for the main battle, I did have the pound cake move. So I'll swing. I'll have the honey swing around, do a tight turn around this way. And the biscuit... The biscuit has an aft arc, so I'll actually have the biscuit turn longer this way, and hopefully the light lasers... I just realized its left shield is practically dead. So I'll cut the top shield by half, as well as the front shield by... You stay at 15. Front shield will drop 10 points off of. And the rear I'll keep at full power. And then I'll drop the bottom to 15 as well. And then the right will Well, I guess even out with the left, so. And also cut power to its engines as well to get the shield starting to recharge. And then I'll have it swing out this way to hopefully keep the main body of the raiders in its aft arc. And then the utility ship just moves that way. Alright, so it would be nice if there was a faster zoom capability. Because I would like to keep track of what the jam's doing in addition to the main flight. Alright, so the utility ship just turns this way. And it looks like the raider that the jam is following is managed to turn around because it's angled differently. So I'll have jam turn slightly this way. So hopefully keep it in its arc. I'll have the biscuit keep doing its turn, although it'll be tighter this time. Oh, maybe not that tight. Pound cake will turn this way. And then, I mean, the honey shields are almost fully recharged. Have the honey swing around this way. Yeah. Alright, so let's see what happens. Alright, the answer is not much. Not much at all. Alright, so I'm guessing this raider managed to get past the jam, so I'll have the jam drop by a plane and effectively turn around. Don't know if it'll actually collide with this guy, but it does definitely means he will be out of the fight for a turn. Utility ship will keep turning. Something of a tight turn. The pound cake turned this way to keep these guys in its arc. Honey will turn this way, just because nothing's going to be in its arc, and by the time it gets pointed to this way, I think this raider's actually going in this direction based off its contrails. So I should actually turn the pound cake this way to keep this raider in its arc. And then move the biscuit around here. Because it looks like these guys are flying this way. So they may turn in here. Which will put them at the side of the biscuit. Which means they'll be out of gun range. But I do have the honey turning this way. So see how everything goes. Alright, so I actually got fire from the jam going long range here, even though the jam's supposed to be chasing this guy down. Looks like he's flying off in this direction. So I'll angle him this way. Biscuit will turn in. As will the pound cake. And the honey will move this way. Everybody's shields are still good, right? And by good, I mean getting the snot kicked out of. Yeah, they're really doing a number on the biscuit's shields, so let me siphon off a bit of energy to even out the left and right shields. Increase power to the shields slightly, just so that way they start recharging. and have the biscuit do a tighter-ish turn this way. But you know what? Let's actually have the biscuit do a what are his shields like? Yeah. Have him keep doing the tight turn. If anything, it should keep this raider in its aft arc, and possibly even put this raider in its front arc, if it can't turn into these two. As the utility ship, it, once again, as normal, just does a tight turn and off the edge of the map. So, now we see who dies. Alright, so they didn't manage to kill anybody yet. Well, this raider's on fire, and this raider is flying off who knows where. So I'll have the pound cake turn in. Just do a turning ward, hopefully keep these guys in its arcs. The honey will turn this way in a tight arc. The biscuit will turn in this way. They may collide with people. Whereas the jam, if I can select it, will turn this way to get after this raider again. And the utility ship, as normal, will just turn in a circle. Alright, so nobody actually collided with anybody, and that's a good sign. Keep having the pound cake turn. Biscuit will turn this way to keep these two raiders in its arc. I'll have the honey move after this one. Yeah, its contrails make me think it's heading off in this direction. Off this way. And then the jam will keep turning after this guy. Who's almost dead. Okay, so this raider managed to enter the forward arc of the pound cake. And I have this raider on the left side of the pound cake, and that's where its shields are weakest right now. Of course, I'm looking at the jam, so kind of ish moot point. Leaving out the left and right shields, or as close as I can get. And just drop the top shields by a little bit. I haven't moved this way, so that way hopefully this raider will stay in its port battery, and this one will hopefully stay off to its front. The honey flew off in this direction, so I'll have it angle back around this way to get after this raider. The biscuit will do a tight turn here. Hopefully it'll keep this raider in its aft arc and either acquire one of these two raiders in its forward arc. As for the jam, who's still off fighting its own little war, turns this way to get after this raider. And the utility ship, as always, flies in a circle. Let's go. Okay, so this raider managed to take some pot shots on the utility ship, and its forward shields or its left shield, I should say, is now down. So it's taken some slight hull damage. So let's actually strip away its front shield, and it fed pretty much every other type of shield. So let's actually turn off everything but the top shield and goose the left shield using that. And it's low, so it shouldn't need the bottom shield. Oop, nope, wrong one. So I'll even out slightly the top and bottom shields. And I can't change its power output, so I can't get its shields to recharge. Oh, there is a fast zoom. How do I zoom out? Oh, there we go. Like I said, I don't remember the controls all that much. Let's focus. So E and C is zoom out. Okay, X and Z Z and X rotate. All the fun things you relearn for not playing a game in like 4 months. So I'll have the honey turn this way to hopefully keep this raider in its sights. And the jam... Come on. We'll turn here. Its own private little turning war. Also reboost power to the shield so that way they recharge, continue recharging. I think it took quite a few hits to the front. So I'll boost the front slightly using the bottom and top shields. And have it try to turn into this raider. So that way they keep their own little turning work going. As for the pound cake and the biscuit, I think I'll actually have the pound cake turn slightly this way. See if it can keep both of these raiders in its broadside arcs. And I'll have the biscuit turn in here to see if it can get these raiders into any of its arcs. And the utility ship keeps turning in a circle. Let's continue. Alright, so the pen on those holes looks familiar to you, Haven? I was thinking the same thing. No militant extremists raiding us. A comms deck to chat, though. Oh, no militant extremists raising us on the comms deck to chat, though. Too busy dodging our new artillery, I'd imagine. That was for Commander Tenson, you vultures. Half a dozen junked raiders will barely scratch the shields of a ship this dense. This is going to be easy. And yet, we're still fighting. You mean a slaughter? Same thing, right? Only if you're the side that's doing the slaughtering, I guess. Alright, so... They did take out a raider. So I'll have the honey swing back around to get after this guy. The pound cake will turn this way to... I think this raider's flying this way, so it's probably going to turn either in this direction. So I'll angle the pound cake slightly this way to keep it in this arc. The biscuit will keep moving in this direction. And it took a hit to its right shield, so we'll even that out with the left, slightly. It'll keep moving forward, and hopefully this raider stays in its arc. As for the war that the jam is fighting all by its lonesome, I'll have it swing around tightly for here. Yeah, so let me zoom out a little bit more so I can actually see how the jam does. Alright, so jammed really didn't do as much as I had hoped. But then again, that's because this guy turned out of its arc, so... Angle it this way, because I think it's just going to keep turning, so... And much like in real life, in order to hit a moving target, you need to hit where it's going to be, not where it currently is. So if it keeps turning this way, hopefully the jam will turn into it, and it'll eventually be able to reacquire its target. This guy's dead, so we have this raider to worry about. So I'll angle the honey this way, and the biscuit will actually go up a level so it doesn't collide with the honey, and do a tight turn in this direction. And the pound cake will keep turning this way. And as usual, I don't know if I had the utility ship move in a circle last time, but forgot about it. It'll keep turning in its circle now. Just tighter so it basically doesn't move. And see how everything goes. Alright, so I can't really see much when everything's zoomed out this far, but I did see somebody taking a couple hits, so I'm hoping that we did more damage to them than they did to us. So I'll have the pound cake keep turning in this direction. And though it looks like this raider's moving off here, so let's actually angle it slightly this way. Where is this raider? This raider's actually behind the biscuit, so... have the biscuit turn in this way, because this raider's flying off in this direction, so I'm thinking it may turn in this way to go after the utility ship, so... I mean, it's probably going to be out of the biscuit's firing arcs, but hopefully next turn we'll reacquire them. The honey will do a sharp turn here, so hopefully if it turns this way, the honey can at least hit it. And as for the jam, have the jam turn this way to hopefully get back into the arcs of... and it'll actually collide with the enemy raider doing that, so take it down a peg and keep turning. Maybe turn a little bit more this way. Alright, so back to the main battle. Wrong button. Oh, almost forgot. Utility ship needs to turn in a circle. There we go. Then we go. Alright, so it looks like the raider that the jam is supposed to be fighting and managed to take a couple pot shots on the honey. As for the jam, since it doesn't look like it's in a turning battle anymore, it'll, well, basically go this way. As for the honey, actually no, for the biscuit, I'll have them turn this way to hopefully reacquire this raider, and I'll have the honey chase after this raider as well. And the pound cake just keeps turning to hopefully keep this raider in its firing arcs. It's practically dead anyway. I think the raider that's the most troublesome is going to be this one, because it's at closest to full health. This one's on fire as well. And we took out the other two. And utility vessel turns in a circle. It's going to be a running theme for this map, isn't it? Alright, so I think the raider actually collided with the biscuit. Yeah, the biscuit's not moving. And the raider took a ridiculously large amount of damage. That's what happens when you fly into a bigger vessel. Although the biscuit shields did take a wallop, especially its front shield. So I'll siphon off energy from the dorsal and ventral shields to it. Just to give it a nice 20. And since it collided with somebody, it can't actually move this turn. So it's not going to go anywhere. Although the thing it collided with is an enemy, and the enemy is directly in its forward firing arc. So hopefully it'll just keep pummeling it. As for the honey, I'll have the honey turn this way to hopefully acquire this raider, whereas the pound cake will turn this way to hopefully get both raiders in its arcs. I did see that the honey took a couple hits, but its shields look fine. And this raider is decided to go back and turning war with the jam, so turning war we shall do. If I can get the little thingy. And go there. And utility ship keeps turning in a circle. Although, right now it's kind of like a wavy back and forth motion. But still. Okay, so this raider is now dead. And this raider is on fire. So... and Biscuit's probably just going to plow back into the thing anyway. I'll go down one. I'll just have it go down one. Hopefully it'll still be in its forward arc. And then I'll have the pound cake and the honey swing around. Have the honey do a tighter turn. The jam chases after this raider. And the utility vessel turns in a circle. And then we go. Alright, so they managed to get, this raider managed to get a shot on the utility vessel, taking down its left shield to 0 and hitting more hits on the hull. So since its left side is to the enemy and its right side is not, we'll dump all the shields on the right side to the left. I'll siphon off some of the top shields to the right, just so that way I have something on that facing. Maybe a little bit more from the bottom as well. And I'll actually do a... Its rear shield's probably the closest to full. Although it's also the side with the least number of points. So I'll actually have the utility vessel fly in a straight line for right now. The biscuit will turn into this raider. The pound cake will turn into this raider. And as will the honey. Although that may collide with the biscuit. No, the honey's lower than the biscuit is. The jam will just turn into this raider, and they're just basically turning around each other for this moment. Alright, so the pound cake got a shot off at the last minute, but I'm not certain it actually hit anything. So I'm going to keep having it turn this way. To hopefully keep the raider in its port arc still. Biscuit will turn... No, Biscuit won't turn. Biscuit will actually head off in this direction to hopefully get this raider in its aft arc and this raider in its forward arc, which the jam will keep turning to chase. And the honey will keep turning this way. And the utility vessel keeps turning in a circle. There, now all the shields have 5 points. Alright, so let's see how that goes. Actually, if I do turn it this way, I could see everything. Alright, so it looks like this raider's heading off in this direction. So the jam keeps turning into this one. Biscuit keeps going this way. Pound cake I shall have turn after this raider. And the honey will swing back around. And the utility vessel just keeps turning in a circle. Okay, so the jam managed to actually make a kill. Wasn't the one he was doing in a turning battle against, but at this point it doesn't really matter because the Libsyn 2, what I've been calling the utility, well, the true name of the utility ship, just lost its right shield. So we'll siphon off some of the bottom shield to give it anything on the right hand side. But this raider is now dead, so not a worry. So everybody just chases after the one that the jam has been turning around. And swing that back around, so... Then we go back over here to the battle I've not been paying much attention to. That's its official name. And we'll see what happens. Alright, so it's trying to take a shot on the biscuit. and have the jam turn into it. Biscuit will just keep going forward, as will the honey. And the pound cake. Because it thinks it can get in a forward shooting war with 2 vessels, and the raider is dead. Okay, so last mark down, Commander. Set up a perimeter so the salvage team can start work. Sorry you missed the action tension. You'd probably have enjoyed that. Alright, so that took 32 turns and about 1 hour. Alright, so... Received no hull damage, we lost 190 shields. Didn't do any repairs and lost about half of our shields. We gained 110 experience, or DP, whatever that is. The worst skill was aggressive, and yes, that's what Pound Cake did. Strongest enemy was the Raider. Given the fact that that's all the enemy had, that's really all that we're dealing with. And so it looks like the Pound Cake killed 1 vessel, Biscuit killed 1 vessel, the Honey killed 2 vessels, and the Jam killed 1 vessel. So everybody did something. Yay us. Let us proceed. Alright, so from here I have 2 different branching missions. So one is Forward Tilt, where we have an aggressive mission, where this is my first and possibly last chance to play with an Albatross frigate. Might handle like a wayward bathtub, which is probably giving it the benefit of the doubt. But these hulls were some of the first boats crunched after first contact. The sheer amounts of steel and kinetic field generated beneath my feet reeks of the fear the squids put in us when they first showed up. The salvage crew NGs are professionals, and we could do to scout ahead to make sure that Dale's wreckage site is clear from the second crew. Chances are if the scavs are willing to risk a firefight with the strike group for parts from a cruiser that dates prior to the first contact, they'll certainly take the chance to pick a 3-year-old Corvette chassis clean. I'll couch it as a training exercise, show my assertiveness in deploying preemptive contact measures. Bilge talk like an officer and command will swallow it right up. I might even earn myself a promotion. I have to basically scout ahead for any hostiles on the way to the Nemo 4 wreckage. Or the other option is perimeter work, which is defensive. So it's again my first chance to stretch the legs of an Albatross class frigate. Of course I'm confined to babysitting crew of NGs picking at the remains of my ex-commander's flagship. Not to sound flippant about where we are, but 7 hours in one spot is making the entire strike group a little stir-crazy. The Comet doesn't seem, that's assuming Space Military Command, I'm not certain the acronym. Doesn't seem to think there's any reason we can expect another attack, but he's insistent that command is demanding a defensive perimeter around the scene until we've relieved, can move on to Dale's wreckage, and I again need to protect the salvage crew from all threats. Alright, so those are my options, although the last mission took about an hour, and I don't want this particular video to run that long. I'm assuming either of these 2 missions will be about the same length. So, rather than completing either of them, I am actually going to call it here, and leave it suspense for possibly a 3rd episode.
So on that note, everybody stay safe from the plague, and have a good day.